Blessed be, and welcome to Spirit of the Age. I'm Miss Wolfkitten, and I'm here to talk to you about what's going on. Oh, my little Durgies, Mama has so much she wants to talk with you about today. We, not too long ago, came through a lunar eclipse. Whether you saw it or not, the full moon moved through the outer edges of the Earth's shadow just 2 days after the spring equinox. We had an early Easter this year because of that as well. Easter is a so-called movable feast. It occurs on the Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox, and that doesn't sound that pagan, does it? Well, I didn't get out to look at it this time around, but then again, I went off to see the moon both the weekend before and the weekend after. Or should I say, I saw the moon. My Bushlers out there know what I'm talking about. Well, everybody else thinks I've gone a little balmy, and that's okay, because I always was anyway. I mentioned last time that I would be heading off to see my favorite obsession, who's rather the antithesis of blonde hair and a tan. No, Noel Fielding is quite something else again, something that Americans aren't yet entirely familiar with. He and his comedy partner, Julian Barrett, got crazy famous in the UK with their show The Mighty Boosh, and it aired for a while here on Adult Swim, so you might be familiar with it. Fielding also appeared on the IT Crowd as Richmond McGough, and then he had his own TV sketch show meets performance art project, Luxury Comedy. Now, Luxcom's a bit of an acquired taste, but I can wholeheartedly recommend The Boosh to everyone, seriously. It's really funny, it's wildly creative, it is pop culture aware without being snide, and aside from a few naughty words, it's actually safe for the whole family, as long as your family isn't shocked by a little gender confusion now and then. So I could make a whole video just fangirling out like crazy over the fact that I saw Noel Fielding up close twice. I did. But I want to keep this one a little more widely accessible, maybe. I bring him up, though, because while his comedy is whimsical and surreal, Noel is, without question, a messenger of hope. He pokes fun at himself for having a Peter Pan complex, and, little one miss does it. But so much of that is tied up in what I think are these outdated notions of what a man should be. That whole business about putting away childish things, I could go deep on that one, and if you catch me around a bonfire past midnight sometime, maybe I will. But for now, let's just say that grown-up people in general, and male people in particular, are not encouraged to use their imaginations or to play. Fielding gets a bit of a pass, as according to him, he's never held a real job, and he refers to his comedy career as a loophole. Now, one part of my brain wants to go off on the fact that for many, many people, pursuing any sort of creative profession is just not really possible. Like the song says, we got bills to pay, we got mouths to feed, and while we pretend that there's no class system in America, the truth is those lovely, filling, creative careers basically require you, or someone close to you, to be well enough off that you're able to live while you hone your craft to a point where it can support you. If you don't come from that, well, sorry, starving artist, sucks to be you. But on the other hand, more than ever now, we really, really need a Pied Piper who can remind us that a better world is possible. And the trope of Pied Piper refers specifically to an artist, someone who can help us to dream. Part of Noel's current stage show involves a homeless knight who leads the entire audience on a quest into the fantasy zone. Let me cheat, I'm looking him up here if I can find him. Everyone joins hands and sings along, and they cheer on the audience member who's chosen to portray Sir Steve and become part of an animated sequence that includes Joey Ramone, David Bowie, and a reversed Minotaur. Does it make sense? It doesn't matter. Not really. Okay, here you go. There's fantasy one. If I may, I'd like to quote Starhawk for a minute here. It is not the conscious mind with its abstract concepts that ever actually communicates with the divine. It is the unconscious mind, the younger self, that responds only to images, pictures, sensations, tangibles. To communicate with the deep self, the goddess, God within, we resort to symbols, to art, poetry, music, myth, and the actions of ritual that translate abstract concepts into the language of the unconscious. Now, if you think I'm reaching with that, fair dues. We live in a culture that has divorced the sacred and profane, forgetting that they're two sides of the same Janus head. After a couple thousand years of patriarchal religion, it's easy to forget that there are more ways to approach the divine than listening to somebody drone on about how the white-bearded dude in the sky is not amused by anything fun. However, I'll try to refrain from going into full lecture mode here, even though it's a little too late. If you trace it back far enough, you will find that theater, dance, masking, music, magic, parades, carnival behavior, they all have their origins in early religious practice. And I can tell you way more than you need to know about that, so hit me up if you're actually interested. But any of you who read tarot are familiar with the Holy Fool, and it's believed that court jesters began as a kind of shamanic figure. So let me get kind of witchy here for a minute. You can fast forward if you're not into that, and I'll bring Noel back to signal when I'm done. Looked at under a certain light, the whole left versus right dichotomy that is playing itself out this election season can really be seen as a magical battle for the soul and future of the country. They, well, I'm an ultra-lefty, obviously, so they means the far right. They're Gruad the Greyface, and we're peace, love, and lemonade. They, whoever they really are, have been keeping us down with low wages, high debt, by corporatizing everything, pitting us against each other, and using shiny consumer toys as decoy artificial hope. The whole country has been subjected to this prolonged brainwashing attempt over the last 20 or 30 years or so, and by who, whether it's intentional, I can't say, at least not without starting to sound like Cat Williams. And maybe it's coincidence, and probably no one is really in charge of it, but it's as good a way as any to describe what's going on. But now the tides are shifting again. Things opened up really far and really fast in the 60s, and it was so far and so fast that it caused this big reactionary swing in the opposite direction. Whole industries and, unfortunately, a big chunk of the population are devoted to trying to hold back the hands of time and undo all the gains that have been made. But here's the thing, progress only goes one way, forward. And you can dig in your heels and try to slow it or stop it, and believe me, there's lots of frightened folks out there who are trying desperately to do just that. But it keeps marching forward. And while we've swung away from the 60s in many ways, it's always been just a matter of time before that reverses too, and we start heading back. So where's that bring us now? Well, we've got Birdie Sanders on the one hand, turning out people in droves despite the media ignoring him, moving ahead with a campaign funded by we the people without the help of corporate donations to which he might be beholden. I mean, for damn near the first time in my whole adult life, we have a candidate who is saying things that I believe in at a level where even if he doesn't get nominated, his candidacy will have had a major impact on the whole political process. And, well, I guess it isn't really the other hand, but we'll bring the Bushlers back now. We have the psychedelic fairy prince of Camden, who's bringing laughter, music, dance, and spring renewal across the land. When I was putting this together originally, I was looking at my research notes, and I was struck by how many touchstones of what you might call the Dionysian current he managed to include in his show. I don't expect that it was put there on purpose, though I might be wrong. But neither do I think it's just an accident that he happens to be channeling all of this. And let's not even discuss the fact that his tour began just after the March new moon, and it ends at the same point in April, which unfortunately is only just a few days from now. But I'm sure it's just coincidence. So, for many of us, and probably nearly everyone who might watch this, the Bernie Sanders campaign feels like the first real hope for a better future we have had in just about ever. that he's gotten so much farther than anyone thought possible last winter, talking about so many things that we have all felt and said amongst ourselves, but never really believed could happen. That's the kind of magic I like to believe in. That and little birds who just happen to land at the right place and right time. That kind of hope feels great. And if you add that to the kind of hope and joy that I felt walking out of the hall in New York and Chicago, oh man, it got me thinking that things really are going to shift in a major way. And it makes me believe, even more than I already did, that people really do have the power. I mean, I've always known that, but that 30-year brainwash job, it's explicitly tried to make most people forget. Can I quote another shamanic rock god? Of course I can. This is my video. So, as Jim Morrison would say, awake, shake dreams from your hair, my pretty child, my sweet one. For all of us who were or will be blessed and lucky enough to catch Noel Fielding live, you know the feeling I'm talking about. For the Booshlers back at home just watching the videos and reading about it on Tumblr, you know it too. Only it's even better than you thought. And for the folks who don't know him, don't get it, that's okay, because there's lots of other places that you can tap into this joyful current. Joy is a strong magic, my friends. And given the hate and the fear that is coming out of that whole Donald Trump movement, it's clear that we as a country are badly in need of hope right now. I mean, even the ones who are terrified by the changes that we see as possible and necessary, in fact, especially them. So if you have managed to tap into any of this, whether you followed Sir Steve and Arnold 5 into the fantasy zone or some other way, we need you to bring that energy home, like a tiny fuzzy little seed sprout, and spread it all around your community. Have a barbecue, hold a dance party, organize a picnic, dress up like Kate Bush, dance to Wuthering Heights. We have got a political machine, this huge, brainless, but highly skilled robot whose control depends on us playing our part. But we can go rogue. We can chuck the script out the window. Glamour moms take many forms, like a funky ball of tits from outer space. And maybe, just maybe, we can sway things over to working for the rest of us, I think. Not just a privileged few. Oh, I said the P word. Well, okay, so here's a few more P words for you. People have the power to fight for our freedom. I've got a face, you've got a face, we can do this. It'll be genius. All right, so enough of the woo-woo stuff. I moved out to the kitchen, you might notice, for this installment, so I could have my little plant corner behind me. Can you see it back there? I hope you can. If you saw the last episode, you might remember me talking about starting seeds. Well, here's where they've got to by now. Oh gosh, they're hidden so the cat won't kill them, but let's bring some up. What do we have here? Oh, you look like tomatoes to me. Yeah, there's some little Roma tomatoes. Okay, they don't really get enough light here, which is why they're all kind of gangly and reaching for the sun. But some of these, not these guys, but some of them will be going in the ground quite soon, while others will still have weeks before they're ready. I unfortunately won't really have time to do much digging outdoors till after the Fairy Festival, but this year I already have some beds dug, so I just have to turn them over and pop the little babies in. Fairy Festival, yeah, that's my next big excite. This is the 25th year for it, and I've been going for 16, 17 years of those. It's held near York, Pennsylvania. It's near the Gettysburg area, and it is just such a marvelous thing. I can't even fully express. It is full of bubbles and flowers and color and music, and there's a maypole, there's a king and queen drumming and dancing, and people dress up in all sorts of finery, and I do mean all sorts. I mean, sure, there's lots of tie-dyes and Ren Fair garb, but I have seen cybergoths in platform boots and neon dreadfalls, punks in painted leather and spikes, boys in dresses, King Arthur's court from the Holy Grail, complete with coconuts, and so much more. If you are at all within a reasonable drive, and that includes Pennsylvania, Maryland, DC, Virginia, I cannot recommend it enough. And I will admit, I do stand to make a profit at the festival because I'll be there in my guise as a vendor, but even so, just Google Spoutwood Farms Annual May Day Fairy Festival. I'm thinking I may even wear my red Kate Bush outfit there. Note to self, pack Kate Bush outfit. So until then, thank you for dropping by, seriously. Don't forget to drop me a line in the comments if you'd like to talk about any of this stuff in any more depth. I might not get to it right away, but I definitely will check them out and reply if you do. So till next time, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.